Hi, we got Mr. TJ Pendleton of the Station Raw Bar on episode 11 of Shop Talk. Appreciate you coming through and doing this for us. We're actually filming on location here at the station. That's pretty cool. It's kind of a full circle moment for me, man, because for years when we come in here on vacation, we'd spend so much time on that front patio, eating some oysters, hanging out. And you just have that old Florida family vibe that has drawn us to it every year. And now we live here. And nothing's changed. You know, I think y'all see us once a week.
At least once a week now.
We don't even got to order. We just sit down.
Know
now you want the usual?
Yeah.
So I'm excited to talk to you about growing up in Appalachia, what it was like living here, growing up here, working here, and what motivated you guys to turn this old service station into the Station Raw Bar. But before we get into that, everybody gets a gift. I brought you guys my Tate's Hell Bourbon Blend. So I aged coffee in bourbon barrels. I think your wife got some of that last time. And that's kind of special. I haven't even released that to the public yet.
Oh, well,
so
I'll keep it then.
You're getting this first
I don't
fall
necessarily
batch.
drink coffee, but she does.
Yeah. So
I'll have a souvenir.
That's right.
Yeah,
Again, the first batch for this fall. So I hope you enjoy it. So like I said, man, just want to talk to you about growing up here. I've met so many people in this community, got really cool stories. And so what was it like growing up in Appalachia?
It was awesome as a kid. You know, back then it was pre-tourism. You know, everybody pretty well made a living off the water some way or another, or worked in town a little bit, you know, but on the main block, there'd be 4 or 5 cars a day parked there. It was, it was nothing. You know, but to grow up here then was pretty cool because you had the river, you could fish, the bay, there was hunting, you know, and back then, this before the airport was there, but nobody used it. So my whole neighborhood, I lived at the airport, and everybody in my neighborhood had a 3-wheeler or a 4-wheeler or a motorcycle. And that whole airport was our playground.
That sounds awesome.
You know, we had trails in all the woods, and we'd get up in the morning, daylight, and we'd ride till dark. You know, basically from St. Joe to here in the woods. You know,
a lot of acreage to cover.
Yeah, we had plenty of room to play, and nobody cared. You could play on the airport, and it was a little harder to make a living here back then. You know, because
I mean, you had to do something on the water, right?
You basically had to be on the water. You know, unless your parents had a gas station. You know, then you could work on the gas station or the IGA or a restaurant. You know, we had 2 restaurants, 3, the Hut, the Reef, and the Grill.
I've heard about the Hut. Never made it to it, but what was that?
It was like a bar and restaurant. It had a bar on one side and a restaurant, you know, fried food, basically seafood, but it was right on the water across from Burger King. That was the main place to go back in the day. And then you had the Reef, and it was the other one. That was the 2, you know, main restaurants then. That's all there was.
That was it.
It was pretty vacant around here at the time.
Quiet,
You know, all the old buildings on this side as a kid was dumps, you know, but in the last 20 years, people's bought them and redone them. And it looks really nice, you know. And which when COVID hit, I told my wife, I see how town is? That's the way town was when I was a kid.
Man, it's funny you say that. I was actually in y'all's parking lot picking up a to-go order because everybody had to go. You know, I was picking up the order, and a gentleman that works here was outside, and I could see it on his face. He's reminiscing. He's looking. He's like, I haven't seen it like this since I was a kid. And this gentleman's probably in his 60s. I would guess, but
that's the way it was. And I told her, I said, honestly, if I didn't have to make a living, I wish it stayed this way. You know, but it's not practical. You know?
I know that, and I've gotten a little spoiled just living here in a short amount of time. It's like we need tourists to come see us.
We got to
rely on it, but at the same time, you get real spoiled in that off season where you go into your favorite restaurant, you hop right
sit out and
nobody's there. You know, you shoot the bull with anybody. There's no traffic. You go to the pig, you ain't got to bump elbows. But again, we need them.
We got to have them. You know, without this place turns to a ghost town.
Exactly.
You know, and the only downside is nobody's moving here to work. You know, nobody moves here to looking for a job. You know, they've all retired and that kind of thing.
You almost got to start your own thing here. You know, I mean, that's what we had to do. So we wanted to move here. And we were trying to go remote and do this and that, and just striking out. And thankfully it did coffee, and it
worked out. And that's kind of how we got into this. You know, me and her, she worked at Riverside Mercantile. She had started it, but wasn't really making any money. And I worked in construction. And we made a living, but you could never get ahead, you know, and was trying to figure out, you know, what does people in this town want? They want beer and food. That's what these people, that's what they come here for. Good seafood and beer. And so we decided to do this. She actually come to me on a Thursday afternoon. She said, hey, I want to open up a restaurant down at that old gas station. Go ahead. I don't care. You know, I'm kind of happy. I've been doing this 15 years. I like my job. I like my boss. And I said, no, I want me and you to do it. And this is what I got laid out. We can do this, this, and this. But I didn't answer by Monday. I'm like, 3 days, really?
Oh, wait a minute.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Okay. So I thought about it, talked to my dad a little bit. I said, you know what? I can always go back and swing a hammer. Hell, let's give it a whirl.
There you go.
So we decided we was going to do this real simple. There's going to be like 6 people working here. Me and her, 3 or 4 other ones, couple cooks, a few tables. Well, that lasted about 3 weeks.
What year was this?
This was in 2017.
Okay.
We moved in March and opened in June, and wasn't going to do any frying. We hell-bent, wasn't going to fry nothing.
Right.
Well, about 3 weeks in, we realized people really want French fries with their cheeseburgers.
Yep. And good fried shrimp.
And shrimp and that kind of stuff. And once we get all that done, and then it's kind of morphed into that, and didn't do any outside seating because me and her had no idea what we were doing.
Right.
She worked at the baseball game concession stand, and I worked at Gibson when I was 15 bussing tables. That was our experience. It was like, we'll start off simple and we'll figure it. And as we kind of figured this out, we'd add a little more. And then we added outside seating and the fryers. And next thing I know, we got liquor and
y'all got a full liquor
store.
Yeah.
Well, we're in the process now. We're just going to move it to the Honey Hole.
Okay.
The Honey Holes went out. They closed up, retired, just tired of dealing with it.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to get that location. And hopefully by Seafood Festival, we'll have all that down there.
That'd be cool.
And then put all our merchandise back in that room.
Okay.
And have 2 separate. We'll still pour drinks. We're going to get a pouring license for here, so we can still pour a drink. We just can't sell a bottle.
Gotcha. Yeah. So I've talked to a bunch of entrepreneurs, several.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing I've noticed with the folks who've been very successful and been around for a long time, they start small with what they can manage, and they grow the business based on the demand.
Let it dictate what you need.
They don't put the lights on with everything under the sun.
Yeah,
you start small and you just baby steps
and ease into
the
it. Yeah, and then the thing you're like, man, how did we get it?
Yeah.
I think we got like 28 employees, all together, and it's a little more than we really signed up for in the beginning. This is going to be something that we could have some time, but if you want it right, you got to be here.
Yeah, 100%.
People just don't care about your money like you will.
That's 1,000%. Nobody's going to run it like you do.
There's an old man sitting up at the bar when we first opened, first started getting busy. Boy, let me give you some advice. Don't get too busy to count your own money.
That's a good one.
I said, that's a good point, but no, sir, I will never be too busy to count my own money.
That's a good one.
So I try to make sure I'm here every night, at the end of the night, to see exactly what's happening.
I heard something similar the other day on a podcast. The guy said, if you can't measure it, you can't count it. It's kind of along, if you can't, and it comes down like weighing out your meat or your fries. If you start letting those little,
all of a sudden you got a big button, and they don't even realize they're basically stealing from you.
Yeah.
I told my cook one day, I said, man, everybody in this building steals from me. I don't steal from you, boss. I'm not necessarily on purpose, but I said, the other day when you cook that Philly cheese and burn it, throw it in the trash, you stole that from me.
Yeah.
Basically.
Right.
Not intentionally, but I know drinks get giveaway. I'm guilty myself of being busy and not putting it in, and it's just nature of the beast.
Yeah. So backing up a little bit, you were 9 years old when you worked at the station.
Yeah.
The station.
The station.
And what was that like?
It was awesome.
Yeah.
Because at 10, I was driving every car that come in the parking lot. If your car needed to be moved, I'm the guy to move the car.
Okay.
And my main job was to pump gas. I never was really a mechanic. Didn't care to be a mechanic.
So
I could
full
change
service station.
Yeah, we pumped gas, washed your window, checked your tires, your oil, the whole 9 yards for everything until they closed in 08. My granddaddy was hell bent. He wasn't going to pay somebody to sit in office. If you're going to be here, you're going to work. So I usually pump gas and change tires and that kind of stuff. But yeah, when I was 9, I was still going to the babysitter and told my dad, Dad, I'm tired of going to the babysitter. Can I go work with y'all? Well, get down there and ask your granddaddy. I ain't asking him for you. That's probably the scariest day of my life was asking him for a job. And he's like, yeah, come on down. I think I made $75 a week back then.
Okay.
And after I'd get out of school at 3 and I'd work, till 5. And I think it was $75 a week. And I was the richest 9-year-old in town. Boy, I always had me money in my pocket. But my dad was also the type, Daddy, I want some Nikes. He said, well, I can buy them other shoes for $15. Mm-hmm. You want them $50 Nikes? Here's $15 towards them.
Yep.
This is what I can pay. So I did my own thing. But looking back, it taught me to value money a little better and stuff like that.
My first job, before we moved out to the farm up in Rockmart, we lived in this little neighborhood, and I would take my dad's lawnmower, and if I could drive to your house, I put a paper on the mailbox in the front door, and it's $20 to cut your whole yard.
Yeah.
That was a steal for them, but I'd hit 2 or 3 lawns on a weekend.
Yeah, 60, 80 bucks.
I'm rolling in the dough.
Yeah.
Now I can go buy whatever I want, games and shoes or whatever. But what was cool about it is at a young age, just like what you're talking about, you learn the value of hard work and the value of the dollar.
Yeah. I remember my first VCR. It was $200 for a VCR. The kids now don't even know what they are.
No.
But it was like $200 at Rex over in Panama City. But it was brand, the latest thing. And Long's Video was you had to go sign a membership. I think it was like $200 to become a member for the first 5 years or something. Then they give you your money back or whatever. She actually just went out of business like 5 years ago.
Wow. I've heard that where my shop is, it could be a video rental store. Have you ever heard that, or did you ever go there?
Not at yours. Across the street, I remember it was. Okay. My aunt and uncle actually had one. They had a Radio Shack, a movie rental place, and a seafood shack, all in the same building, and a laundromat beside it.
A little bit of everything.
And I don't think they ever made any money at any of it. It just kind of didn't work out.
So that was y'all's motivation to get the station going. Your wife was kind of, I'm ready for something new.
I want to do something we can make a living here, and afford nicer things in life, have our own house, or have our cars paid for, because we was renting a trailer at the time, because that's what we could afford, and it's provided us a lot of good things. We've been very blessed with the whole restaurant.
Yeah, and like you were saying earlier, it's just been growing and growing and growing.
And just morphing into more than I ever anticipated. I tell us all the time, I didn't really sign up for all this, I signed up for like 6 people.
That's right.
But it is what it is.
Yeah.
And it's been a great thing. I'd do it all over again.
Yeah.
I'd probably do some things different because.
Anything come to mind?
Just layout mainly.
Yeah.
The way the bar's laid out and stuff would lay it out a little different just to keep everybody away from me, basically.
We kind of did that in my shop. Like we were supposed to open, it's February 2020. We'd moved here in 19. COVID hits. And I'm supposed to open my coffee shop almost to the month. And we're like, the heck we gonna do? I got a newborn student.
I got bills coming.
No job now. And so we put the bar by the window so we could take people that could come up to the window with their coffee and leave. And it stayed like that for 2 or 3 years. But like you're saying, folks are just right on top of it. And it's awesome getting to know people and connect with people. But at some point, it's like just to make the drink or whatever, like, I don't need you breathing right on me.
Yeah.
So now I got the bar moved back a little bit. Yeah. A little more privacy. Now we've got some, some extra help, and they enjoy that little bit of extra privacy too. So people they want to see you making that.
Yeah, they want to see it all. They want the experience. Exactly. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, and that's
kind of like our oyster bar. They like sitting there and watching, shucking.
Yeah.
Oh, you do it right here, and they got your video,
and so many people don't realize what goes into that.
Yeah, there's a lot of work that goes into all of it.
How many oysters do you think y'all go through? We'll say busy season on a day.
Saturday, I think we done 185 dozen.
That's crazy.
This past dozen. It was a crazy day. I think the most we ever done was 215 dozen in 7 hours.
That's a lot of oysters.
It's a long day.
Yeah. Y'all's wrist over your carpal tunnel?
This one. Saturday night, my arm just cramping from squeezing and holding. And
Brandon Martina gave me a little shucking machine. If you want to plug it in,
you might lose a finger. You come out like that.
Might lose a finger, but
every old lady in this town looks like that.
Man, I've heard stories. I've had a couple of ladies come in like, that was my stall right there, and they'll start talking about that machine. But it ain't OSHA approved.
That was the oyster house where you're at.
Yep. Yeah, we want to keep that history alive. So we got the tongs hanging. We got the shucking station on display with the block and the hammer and the shucking machine and a couple knives. And got some lease, like a lease up there. I think it's going to open up January 2020.
They say it in January, limited, whatever that means.
Yeah.
Sounds expensive.
It does. Like a pay-to-play type deal.
Yeah, and that's probably what it's going to be.
Yeah.
And honestly, with the farm raised here local now, they're real close to it's good.
I wouldn't know any better because we started coming in here around 17,
pretty well already
18.
Done.
But man, from what I have had that are farm raised, it's delicious.
They're good as they get, but it's not what they drove up on. And, people all over the world, they got the best oysters in the world. I personally don't even eat them.
What? Really?
No.
My mom grew up in Savannah. She doesn't touch seafood. She can clean a crab like that.
We won't
clean
eat
a fish like that. Won't eat it.
Really?
Yep. She'll eat fried shrimp.
I used to eat them a little bit. I never really cared for them raw.
Yeah.
I probably eat maybe a dozen in my life. I used to like them baked, but after smelling them for 6-8 years, I
had to ease into it. And I honestly think my first ones were probably here. After a couple of them Appalachicola IPAs, my wife's been eating them. And I started off with the cheddar and the bacon, the jalapenos and all that. Now I enjoy them raw now.
Yeah. Well, any raw ones I ever eat, I was drunk. Jimmy always tell me, if you see me eating oyster, I'm drunk and hungry.
You got to work hard for it.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, let me ask you this, man. What do you guys do different here? Because I feel like y'all have such a unique family as far as your staff goes. Y'all just treat each other like family. You're cutting up. Everybody seems to love what they're doing here.
Because we work arm to arm with them.
Yeah.
We'll get right in the trenches with them. We don't sit back here and watch and go and holler at them for doing something.
Exactly.
She's waiting on tables, toting food, cooking in the kitchen. You know, she was here yesterday when it was closed from 12 to 7.
Yeah.
You know, just and making sure stuff's right. And they realize that, you know, hey, he'll get out here and he won't ask me to do anything he's not willing to do.
Exactly.
You know, there's some things I won't let them do, like clean the fryers. I stuck my hand in it.
I remember you had
about 8 months ago and blistered me up. And I told them before, if anybody gets a day off and gets burnt, it's going to be me.
Right.
Not y'all. And I could imagine what that workman's comp case would have been. You know, they probably still wouldn't be back to work.
Yeah. Leading from the front, though.
You know, there's just certain things I feel that I need to do.
Yeah.
You know, just for safety, if nothing else.
But in addition to the service, which is always incredible, the food, it's like clockwork, man. Y'all got a well-oiled machine. I don't care how busy it is. When you sit down, it's going to be about 15 minutes
10
tops.
to 15 minutes. We generally, no matter how busy we, and most of our stuff's fairly simple to cook, you know, and which we take good care of our kitchen staff too. They get 2 weeks a year paid vacation. You know, we close for 2 weeks. The whole staff, everybody gets paid like we're here. Now, they don't get their tips, you know, but, and, you know, they need time off, you know, whatever, you know, they need you're a psychologist, you're a banker, you're a boss, you know, I'm pretty sure 3/4 of them owes me money, you know, but it's what you got to do.
Yeah.
You know, if not, you're doing all this by yourself. And without these other 20 people, it's not possible.
Right.
You know, so we kind of teach them all like our kid.
Yeah.
You know, some of them better.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because, you know, some of them, they kind of got you. You know, you really need them, especially in our town. People's not lining up for applications.
Right.
I think I've had 4 applications in 8 years for an oyster show.
Wow.
And you would think in Apalachicola, everybody here knows how to shuck an oyster.
Yep.
You know, it's cool. They make decent money. And but nobody. The guy I got now, he's from Graceville.
I don't know what that is.
It's up north. It's up around I-10 somewhere.
Okay.
A little small country town. Wearing cowboy boots and blue jeans. But
shucking oysters.
You're shucking oysters. You're getting it done. So it is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the labor pool is tough.
It's a labor puddle.
What's that?
A labor puddle. It's not a pool. It's just a puddle.
I agree with that. And that's why when you get them good ones, you got to hold on to.
Yeah, if you do, you better treat them right, because not they leave for a quarter an hour.
Yeah.
You know, and that's just, and we pay ours fairly well. You know, most servers in town was making $6 an hour. We started ours at $8.
Yeah.
You know, just to keep them.
Yeah.
And it's just part of it.
For sure. So looking into the future, what else we got? What can you share with the folks about the station? We've got the liquor. We got a full liquor store here that's about to move to the Honey Hole. Yeah. Anything else you can think of that's
not offhand, but I'm sure my wife's gears are turning. There'll be something coming, I'm sure.
That's my role in mine and my wife's relationship. Those gears are always turning, and she's always got to be reeling me back in.
That's
I'm ready
me.
to go full speed.
Yeah, she's like, let's do it. I'm like, hey,
tighten up a little bit.
I don't know if that's feasible. You know, let's think about it.
Yeah.
You know, we both had 3 drinks. Let's talk about it tomorrow.
Well, hey, listen, man. Well, we used to have business meetings on my in-laws' back porch in Ackworth, Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
It involved Miller Lite and talking about how we're going to move down here and what we're going to do down here. So sometimes,
well, some of our best decisions have come at the picnic table down there feeding dogs at 10 o'clock at night.
Exactly.
Because by the time we get home, we still got to let the dogs out, let them run around, feed them. So we'll sit under the house for an hour and just bitch or talk. You know, what about the day and just who made you mad today, or which one was you ready to choke, that kind of thing. And that's where a lot of our decisions are made, good, bad, or ugly.
Exactly. Well, as we wrap up here, man, I know you got to get back out front. You guys are getting busy. What is your favorite thing about growing up here, living here, raising your family here on the Forgotten Coast?
Probably knowing everybody as a kid. You know, if you was from here when I was a kid, I know who you were. I knew where you lived. I know your kids, you know, and I got friends I've been friends with since kindergarten.
Yeah.
You know, and we're still buddies.
Yeah.
And, you know, I don't see them every day. We might not talk for a year, but if I call them, they'll still show up. And just the friendships and that kind of stuff and growing up. I wouldn't want to grow up anywhere else.
Yeah.
You know, I remember as a kid working here, and people would come in and say, hey, where's 237 Kevin Street? I have no idea. Who are you looking for? I'm looking for Arthur Smith. All right, go up here to the light, take a left, and go. And I know where he lives, but I don't know what street it is.
Right.
That kind of thing. Just, I couldn't imagine living in a big city. I lived in Atlanta one time for 8 months. I had a neighbor here to that wall from me. Never met him. I seen him at his door the first. Hey man, how you doing? He about ripped the door down trying to get inside. Well, I guess he don't want to be friends. And cities are just that way. We went to Key West this past summer. I didn't find the first friendly person down there.
Yeah.
Every restaurant, nobody's like, hey, how y'all doing? Where are you from? And nothing. Just here. Just friendly. Just be friendly.
Yeah. And again, I think that's why we loved it here so much. And we moved here because I grew up in a small town.
Mm-hmm.
We knew everybody. And most of my friends, their parents went to high school together.
Mm-hmm.
And that was one of the first things when you walked to somebody's house. Who's your mama now?
Yeah.
Because I moved to Rock Martin Middle School. So they didn't know who I was. And they were trying to figure out who's Matt Lee kid come from.
Yeah, they know who we.
Yeah.
And out here, they didn't know it. They'd make it up. It didn't matter.
But the community is so special here. I think small town USA, you do get friendly folks, especially in the South, but even more so here in Appalachia, Franklin County.
It's a good little area to grow up and raise a family. And
raise 2 boys.
We got our problems just like everybody else, but it's minimum compared to other places.
We have like a little bubble here.
Yeah, I never feel unsafe. I walk down the alley every night with my money bag and pitch black dark. I'm never once going, nobody jumps out and gets me.
Yeah.
Don't even cross my mind. As a kid, we didn't have a key to our house. There wasn't one.
Right.
It never was locked.
Yeah.
My dad's key had the same car for 20 years, a El Camino. Never took the key out of the ignition. It was always in the ignition.
That's right.
And if you need it, there it is.
And you got to look for them in the morning.
Yeah, and it was just, that's the way they were around here.
Yeah.
They've been here since the 50s, I think, like 55.
Where'd they move from?
Arkansas.
Okay.
And my dad was born in Arkansas. My uncle had lived in Appalachia. I'm not sure how he wound up here. And he called my granddad, wanting him to help come run a gas station out where the Napa store was. So he said, when I showed up, there was a sign on the door that said, gas station coming soon. And then my uncle wound up passing away like 2 years later. And my granddaddy took it over, and then they moved up to where the Marathon is, and they moved here in 71.
Okay.
So he basically was in business from like 55 or 56 to 08. And he decided he just had enough. And my dad said, me too. So he opened a garage at the home. And now my brother-in-law runs it. And here we are. I did make the statement that I'd never work there again when I left. I think I was 25 when I left. And the only reason I left is because I just couldn't make any money.
Yeah.
And at that point, I had a family and kids. And my daddy, I got to make this to survive.
Right.
And well, I can't pay you that. And well, I might find something else to do.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how it worked out.
Now you're here at the station.
And now it's all worked out for the best.
That's awesome.
I did tell him, though, if he wanted to come back to work, I was in charge. He's like, I don't want a job. I'm not coming to work.
That's awesome. Yeah. My mom works with us, and it's actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
Working with family. When
I first opened, they did work for a week or two, washing dishes, just helping us try to figure out what we were doing. And like, oh, look, you got it. We're out. Good luck. Yeah. Well, man, I wish you nothing but success. I appreciate you taking some time. Enjoyed it. And like I said, every time we're in here, we just treat like family. And that means a lot to us. And I hope folks that see this video, if they haven't made it to the station, they got to come over here and come say hi to you guys. And get some coffee while you're there. Let's do it. Good. TJ, I appreciate it, man. Yes,